Good morning. We're here doing our Veterans Special. This morning we're here with Ron Oppliger. And one of the things that we really wanted to do is we wanted to share some of the great stories and great men and women from our veterans community that continue to serve, that love this community, and want to share their experiences and their stories with you. And this morning we're here with Ron. Good morning, Ron. How are you?
Good morning, Carl. How you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. So one of the things that everybody, of course, wants to know is which branch of the military did you serve in?
The Marine Corps.
All right. So go Marines, right?
Yeah, go Jarheads.
And you served from
1964 to 1968.
Well, thank you for your service. Thank you for being with us this morning and giving us the opportunity to share your story with our great community. One of the things that we wanted to start off with is tell us a little bit about yourself. Where were you born, and some about your family story?
I was born in the Midwest in Nebraska, actually, and I was working for a company, a corporation, and I had an opportunity to transfer. Well, when I went into service, I was in tropical climate for 4 years. When I got out, I went back to Nebraska, and it was cold. So after the kids graduated out of high school, me and my wife moved down to Florida. We got transferred. And I've been in Marion County since '86. And when I retired from my business, I went down to the service office, and I didn't know what to do. I just checked if I had any benefits. And they asked me, what are you going to do since you retired? And I said, I have no idea. I got to find something to do. And they asked me if I wanted to volunteer at the park. And I says, volunteer at the park? Where? And it was right behind, of course, the service office.
Sure.
And I've been here ever since, and it's been probably the greatest thing that happened to me, and I really enjoy it.
Well, not only did you serve, but you continue to serve other veterans by helping out in our community with our Veterans Park. So let's talk about why you decided to enlist in the Marines.
Well, I thought I knew more than the teacher, so I decided to quit school. And back in the 60s, you had two options. I didn't have to go to court, obviously, but my folks said, I needed some discipline, and I was kind of a rowdy young kid. So they enlisted me at 17. They signed to let me go into service when I quit school. And the best thing that ever happened to me was going to the Marine Corps. My brother was in, and he was a stepbrother, so that's kind of why I went to the Marine Corps.
Okay. And
instilled a lot of pride, integrity, and probably the most important thing that I grabbed from it was maturity.
That's excellent. After coming out of boot camp, how do you get assigned?
Well, when you get out of boot camp, they give you an MOS. I put in when I went in, put in for Air Wing of the Marine Corps, and I ended up in artillery. So I went to 29 Palms, and they have what they call a 155 long toms, they call them, and it was a gun that could shoot up to 20 miles.
Really?
And that's when we were in '64. I was in, and then by '65, I headed for Vietnam.
And so as you arrived in Vietnam, tell us what's going through your mind.
Well, we were fortunate enough to set up the base in Chu Lai. It's an air base. It was below Da Nang. And I was 17 yet, so I couldn't go in. So I stayed in Okinawa until I turned 18. And it was kind of funny. I thought to myself, why? And then they told me because I had to sign a living will. I ain't got nothing. So what have I got to leave, Anyway, we went in, and it's just like there was nothing there. The beautiful beaches, natural. It was just wide open country. So we went in, and just like they did in amphibious landings back in World War I and II that you see. Right. That's what we did, and it was kind of an experience like, oh my God, what have I done now?
And how about fighting and being in
We didn't run into much resistance at first, but after we got the base set up, Viet Cong knew that we were setting up a base for the Air Wing so they could get off the carriers and be on land, and that's when they started to come in and attack. They'd come in at night and blow up your planes and stuff. But I was in artillery, so we had the grunts out in front of us as a perimeter. Then you had the artillery, then you had the base where the Seabees were building it, so you just kind of a three-layer.
Yeah, so you have multiple lines of defense. And from your unit specifically, did you encounter any loss?
We didn't in our units. Artillery is kind of hard to lose somebody.
Sure.
Grunts, we lost quite a few of them, but we had continuous fire. It was just one of those things that we were on 9 different campaigns while we were there, and it was just it's an experience for a young person that you can't describe. You almost got to experience it. Yeah,
and on the campaigns, which one of the campaigns that you were on stood out to you?
Starlight was probably the biggest one. That's when they first one we had. But when they started to overrun one of the Grunt Air Base or Grunt posts, we had continuous fire for probably we fired until we ran out of ammunition.
So you ran out of ammunition?
We ran out of ammunition because we had carried about 300-400 rounds at our gun ourselves. And after the rounds were 100 pounds, and it would shoot like it was 20 miles, so you can imagine the gunpowder behind it.
I can't imagine.
The tube, the powder was probably 3 foot long and about 6 inches in diameter that you stuck behind that. it literally would, if you was walking in like 100 yards in front of it, it'd break your eardrums, the muzzle blast.
Wow. So after you finished up your tour and you came back, what was that experience like for you?
Well, I was kind of in some ways blessed because I came back in '66. And the more of that turmoil was, I think, 68, 69, and 70 when they were coming back, when it was coming to the end. But when we got off, I'll never forget the captain told us when you land on U.S. soil, as fast as you can, get out of uniform.
It's hard for me to even picture that today, that being the sentiment, because I think we've gotten to the point where we really honor and treasure our veterans. I can't even imagine a time.
You know, that's one thing that's helped me at the Veterans Park, is because it has welcomed me home. I just blended into society. I didn't even talk about Vietnam for all the years that for 40 years that I was in the civilian life. And I think most all of them did that. So it's just one of those things, is how you adapt to it and go forward. Some people can and some people can't.
Ron, thank you so much for taking some time today, for allowing us to share your story and about the great men and women that have served our country, continue to serve our community. We thank you, and we really appreciate not only your service to this country, but your service to Marion County.
Well,
thank you, sir.
for doing it.